Welcome to St Maelog's. I was in the area visiting another church a few miles up the road, which is actually up for sale now, and I came across this beautiful little church. The church for sale will probably be my next video, but for now let's have a look around this one. The church is full of surprises and has some beautiful features inside. Here is a stoop from the original church, built in the 13th century when it was a Catholic church. The Victorians totally rebuilt this church in the 19th century, firstly in 1831 and then again in 1856. The oldest part of the church is the tower, which is from the 16th century. I know I say it all the time, but I really do love this church. It's one of my favourites so far. And this floor here, obviously made by the Victorians in the mosaic style, is absolutely stunning. Now, a lot of people don't like the Victorian features that are added to these churches, but I really do like them, especially when they keep some of the old history and it's like a medieval church at heart. On the left, you'll see the piscina. Now, that's used for washing the communal vessels. And interestingly, piscina is a Latin word meaning fish pond. The east window doesn't disappoint and was put in by the Victorians. Now, it's got plenty of blue glass, which was very expensive in the Victorian period. So this church has had a lot of money spent on it. Underneath the window, you'll find this absolutely gorgeous reredos. As I said earlier, this was all done by the Victorians, and I think it's absolutely stunning. And in the altar, we carry on with the mosaic style tiles, and we had the four symbols of Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. It always amazes me when I find these churches in the middle of nowhere. And as I said, I was just driving to a different church and I didn't know this one existed. The organ comes from a company called Vowles, and they were a prolific organ builder founded in 1858, and their organs are exported all over the world. One of the most interesting things I found inside this church, and I haven't seen one before, is the brass lectern. Usually they are of eagles, but this one is the pelican. Now, the pelican is a symbol of the atonement and the Redeemer, and is often found in Christian murals, frescoes, paintings, and in stained glass. It's also found carved into church doors on the continent. The pelican is believed to wound itself when food is scarce in order to feed its young with its own blood. So there we have the church connection. The pelican, a bird which nourishes its young with its own blood, symbolises Jesus, his sacrifice, and the taking of communion. Now, I've been into symbology for many years now, more so in Masonic and occult symbolism, which surprisingly you do find a lot of in churches. When it comes to Christianity, there's many symbols I don't know about, and that's exactly why I like to find things like this in churches and discover their meanings and then pass them on to you. Now, there's plenty of people who watch my videos who know a lot more than I do about churches and Christianity, as I'm not a practicing Christian myself, but I just love these buildings and I love to keep our history going. So I like to think we can learn off each other. Now, when it comes to symbology, there's often double meanings, and this is what the Christians don't understand. A lot of their symbols, they say, oh, that's just symbolises John, the eagle, for example, but they don't actually know where that comes from before that. And this is where occult knowledge comes from. And people think the occult is evil, and probably the way the word sounds, but all it really means is hidden or secret knowledge. And personally, I love to know this knowledge because the people who rule this world, the so-called elites, they definitely do, and they use this against us. So ignorance is not always bliss, and I would encourage anyone, especially if you're a Christian, don't just believe what I'm saying, but look into it, and don't just believe the narrative you've been told. Moving on to the west window, another stunner, made in 1902 by the company Burleson and Grills, and it's called Angels with the baptism of Cornelius and the supper at Emmaus. Inside the tower, you'll find these really interesting gravestones, mostly from the 17th century. Also, that 10th century stone, which was rescued from the ruins of the mausoleum that's in the graveyard. Unfortunately, the mausoleum is barricaded off, probably due to its unsafe condition, but I do have a small clip of it at the end. Let's have a little wander around the graveyard, and it's packed with mostly old gravestones. There are some newer ones as well. It's in a really good condition, and what first caught my eye was the church cross, and at first I thought it was an undamaged one, but as you get closer you can see it's a much more modern version. I would assume it was made by the Victorians when they rebuilt the church. Nevertheless, it's in a great condition and represents what the old church crosses would have looked like before they were destroyed in the Reformation. At the east end of the graveyard, right by the river, you have a nice monument. Although I can't really read it, it looks like it's dedicated to a colonel who died in 1855. Scattered around the graveyard, you'll find lots of yew trees, which if you watch my videos, you'll know I absolutely love them. I would say there's at least 8 here. This is the oldest one, probably planted when the first church was built here. And I believe this is the one that caught fire back in 1989 and had to be put out by the fire brigade. Down to the resilience of these trees, it looks like it's doing really well, and I'd expect it to last another 1,000 years. There's one war grave here inside the graveyard, and this is of a William Charles Phillips. He was a Lance Sergeant from the Royal Signals. He died the 28th of October 1942, aged 42, and the inscription reads, "In loving memory of William, also of Gertrude Mabel, his beloved wife, who died the 28th of February 1992, aged 89. So that wraps it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I believe this is the mausoleum. I didn't know what it was at the time, only when I got home and started to research the church. Now, if ever I come back here, I'll definitely have a little peep in there, because apparently there's lead coffins still inside, so that'd be really interesting to try and find. As usual, I'll leave you with some drone footage, and I'll see you all really soon.